All right, today we're talking about Lesson 16 in Module 2. Lesson 16 says use divide by 10 patterns for multi-digit whole number division. Before we really get started on what we are doing in Lesson 16, I would really like to go over a couple of things that go along with what we're going to be working on till the end of the module. And the important thing is to know we're going to be dividing for basically the rest of this module. I believe we have about 16 to 20 lessons. Well, hold on one second. I'll look at exactly how many we have. We have about 13 lessons, so it's about 4 weeks if we include all the testing days and everything that goes along with that. So about 4 weeks, so about a month of just division. Now, there's still going to be multiplication because we know multiplication and division go hand in hand. You can check multiplication with division, and you can check division with multiplication. So those two do go hand in hand. Now, when it comes to division, we have the dividend, the divisor, we have a quotient. It's important that our kids, the students, get an understanding of what these three words are, and these are going to be the key words that we use over and over again the rest of this module. It's going to be asking for the quotient, which is the answer to the division problem. So if we had 50 divided by 5, that would equal 10. That would be our quotient. Our divisor now is the number that we are using that is going to divide. We're dividing 50, so that's our dividend, and we're dividing 50 by 5. That's our divisor. So this is important when they go to the long division, which we will be getting to soon. We have to remember that our dividend, what we are dividing, goes inside, and then what we are dividing it by goes on the outside, and then our quotient is on top. So that's important that we get them to understand that. It's just that vocabulary that stumps the children, stumps the students. So we want to work on their vocabulary in math just like we do in ELA and social studies and all the other subject areas. Now, today we were dividing using place value disk. We went over how to use it with place value disk. It's useful at the beginning just for them to understand that, inside 100 is, there's 10 tens. So we know that there's 10 tens inside of 100. It's really, again, just going over that place value concept, that every place value is it's 10 times bigger than the previous place value. So, for instance, if we had ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, every place value is 10 times bigger. 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 100 is 1,000, 10 times 1,000 is 10,000. We like the kids to be able to know how to fluently, and that's what we're working on and been working on this whole school year, is fluently moving between the place values, going up and down it. Now that we're dividing, the students are realizing now we're going back down it. When multiplying, we went up. So dividing goes down the place value. Multiplying goes up the place value. Typically, our numbers get bigger when we multiply, and typically our numbers get smaller when we divide. Now, what goes along with this is that we did in the first module, which a lot of students struggle with, we did multiply and divide with multiples of 10, 100, or 1,000. So we're just going off of that concept and building and doing multiples of 10 or hundreds or thousands. So 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Now we are going up and down. I mean, we are using those multiples. And that's the basic concept of this lesson. It's how can we manipulate our place value knowledge to help us multiply and divide. So question number 1, they did 400 divided by 10 equals 40. Well, one thing we also learned was that 400 divided by 10 is the same thing as having 4, 0, 0. So hundreds place, tens place, ones place. And that was another key thing I wanted to go over real quick. A lot of the students like to say, yeah, we do have 0 ones right now. But if we look at the whole number, how many ones do we have? We have 400 ones. We could write that as a unit. If we look at the tens, and not just in the tens place, how many do we have? We have 40 tens. And then in the hundreds place, we have 4 hundreds. So we could easily say, well, if we're dividing by 10, what do we have from the tens place on? Well, we have 40. So 400 divided by 10 is 40. We could also say, we know through our place value knowledge that dividing by 10, let me erase some of this for us real quick so we can see. Dividing by 10 on the place value moves our number to the right one place. Because we remembered that however many zeros we have determine how many times it moves. It moves once. Because we have 1 0. So now we have 40. And then the most efficient and I think the fastest way to do it is just 400 divided by 10. We look at how many zeros are there and we cross them out. And what we have remaining is our answer. So there's multiple strategies that they can use. They can use the place value disk. They can use the place value chart. They can cut out the zeros and see what they have remaining. So let's look at, see B states 650,000 divided by 100 equals. We can easily see, it shows down here. We know, I wrote that wrong. I just wrote 650. We already see that they took the zeros away and they ended up with 6,500 divided by 1. And we know anything divided by 1 is that thing. So we know it's 6,500. And that's the basic concept for all of question number 1. Now, question number 2, it's going to add in multiples of 10. So we have multiples of 10 and 100. So like I was saying, multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then multiples of 100 is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and so on. So if we're dividing 240,000 by 40, there's 2 ways you can think of it. You can still just drop off the zeros, and now I have 24,000 divided by 4. And that would just be how many times does 4 go into 2? It doesn't go into 2. How many times does 4 go into 24? It goes in 6 times, and then we have 3 zeros remaining. So that's one way. You could also think of it as 240,000 divided by 10 divided by 4. And what does that equal? So we're going to get rid of this 10 first. So we know getting rid of the 10 just, again, takes away zeros. 3 zeros divided by 4 equals, and then again, how many times does 4 go into 24? 6 times, so 4 will go into 24,000 6,000 times. It's just a simple way. You could do it either way. I like knowing the kids know how to break apart a number into its factors. And then also if they're able just to rewrite it how I did the first time, 240,000 divided by 40. Get rid of the zeros and just know it's 240,000. 24,000. Sorry about that. 24,000 divided by 4. And that equals 6,000 as well. We could check our work by saying 6,000 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. What did I do wrong here? Did something wrong. Because it should be 40. That's my bad. Look at that. So it should be 40 times 6,000. And if we know that, we can go ahead and just put our place value holder, and that moves us all down again. So place value, 1, 2, 3, 24, 240,000. And that is why it is important to check our work and know how to check our work. All right, let's go on to the next page of the homework helper, see what that says. Now, again, this is just repeating it. Knowing how to break our number into its factors, and then crossing out zeros. Then what are we left with? Crossing out zeros, what are we left with? So let's work out some problems. All right, I'm going to do A, C, and E. So that leaves B, D, and F for the kids. I'll go ahead and put those answers down before. Oh, I'll put the answers later, so just in case I get in my way. So let's look. Now, I know this is easy for some kids to not show work, but I should still see some work. So 300 divided by 10. Just going to cross out my zeros. I get 30. 18,000 divided by 100. Again, crossing out my zeros. 180. 1,000 and 9,000. Just going to cross out my zeros on here. 900,000. I get 900. And then for the kids, we have, what is this, 45. This is 7,300. And then this one's 680. So again, it's pretty easy for the students to be able to understand this one. Go ahead and pause it if you need to real quick. I'm about to erase it. All right, I'm just going to do A, D, and G. Well, I'm just going to do D, and G. I'm going to do them off to the side. So let's see. D states 420,000 divided by 60. So, again, we could say 420,000 divided by 10 divided by 6. We'll get rid of this first. So just get rid of that 10 divided by 6. And then 6 goes into 42, 7 times. 3 zeros remaining. Let's check our work. So this time, let's make sure I check it correctly. We should be multiplying the quotient by the divisor to get the dividend. 60 times 7,000. I'm just going to put a place value there. 3 zeros. 6 times 7 is 42. 420,000, 420,000. All right, so we do quotient times divisor to get dividend. And when we divide, we get dividend divided by divisor. It gives us quotient. So that first one is 420,000. 7,000 is the answer. Sorry about that. 7,000. And then finally, I'm going to do 24,000 divided by 30. I'm just going to do the zero rule. Cross out the zeros. I get 24,000 divided by 3. 3 goes into 24 8 times with 2 zeros, so 800. 800 times 30. So divisor times quotient. 0, 0, 0, 24. Yep, same answer. Got that dividend back. So 800. And then for the students, let's see. 99, 700, 70, 850. And then we have the word problems left, so go ahead and pause this if you need to. Let's look to see what we have. So we have 3 word problems. Again, the students need to be able to write back to these. So we do the read, draw, write method. So I'm just going to be doing the answers. So if the students don't have the drawing is their thinking, underlining is the reading part. We want them to understand what they're asking. And then writing is writing back to it in complete sentences. Restating the question, stating the answer. So a stadium holds 50,000 people. The stadium is divided into 250 different seating sections. How many seats are in each section? This was a little difficult. So we don't just have a multiple of 10 or 100. We actually have a 20 to 250. So we would have 50,000 divided by 250. Get rid of those zeros. Now, 25 can't go into 5, but 25 can go into 50 2 times. So 2, 0, 0. Now, because we did 50, we have to remember that this 0 does not count as what is my remaining 0. So 200 is my answer. Over the course of a year, a tractor trailer commutes 160,000 miles across America. Assuming a trucker changes his tires every 40,000 miles and that he starts with a brand new set of tires, how many sets of tires will he use in a year? So 160,000 divided by 40,000. Again, we're just going to cross as many zeros as we have. 3, 4, I have 4. 3, 4. So 4 into 16 is 4. Trucker changes the oil every 10,000 miles, and he starts the year with a fresh oil change. How many times will he change his oil? So 160,000 divided by 10,000. Again, 4 zeros, 4 zeros. So answer 16. All right, but I need to see that read. I need to see that read, draw, write method for their responses. All right, I hope you guys have a better day than I am. I'm sick with the crud that everyone has going around. Go to the doctor today. Hopefully, he can do something to help. If not, I'll just keep hydrating, getting enough rest, and eating right. All right, I hope you guys have a great night. See you all tomorrow.